President Trump. He says going to protect the monuments, and he's passing rules and regulations about protecting the monuments. In my opinion, there is a few that he should not be protecting, like Stone Mountain, Georgia. So that brought me a question. I question my own self. Which is my favorite monument in Washington, D.C.? I have spent, I can say, over a couple of months, just walking around Washington, D.C. at one point or another. Just because I really enjoy that city, and every single time that I go, I learn something new. And there is a few places that I do not enter, and I can give you the reasons for it. But I want to talk about my favorite monument and why. So I thought about it, and I realized that to me the most important United States of America founding father was a very unusual guy, the very, very weird guy. Of course, you have to be weird and unusual to fight a revolution. Basically, people have to call you crazy, because when someone is calling you are crazy, that means that you are thinking outside the box. That means that you are not following. Most of the time, people will call crazy or eccentric to somebody else because they are sheltered. They are inside what I call the monkey pot, the monkey group mentality. And these so-called crazy or so-called eccentric, they are actually very independent, very, very far-thinking people. They have this vision, and it's a natural thing. My favorite monument has to be Friedrich van Schelzer. I can never pronounce his name. It's a German name. Or Van something and another. Anyway, I will write it down on the comment, his name. And I apologize for not being able ever to pronounce his name. I call him Friedrich. That's how I call him. This fellow is responsible for making the transition of a ragged up bunch of crazy guys, far-thinking lunatics, thinking about going against the biggest empire at the time, the British Empire, with single-shot muskets. And this guy made that transition from being all these loose entities with an idea, but with no a strategy. This Mr. Fred Van Sersky molded them into a fighting army. This fellow was a guy from Prussia. Remember the Germans, the Germans are not really Germans. The word Germany is something modern. We call Países Bajos or Low Countries. We call Prussia, Hungary, Austria, and so on. Well, he was a soldier. Well, nobody knows exactly, but he was a soldier from that part of the world, fighting with the tercios and all that. So he shows up in the American continent, in the colonies, and went and asked Mr. George Washington for a job. So Mr. George Washington asked him, well, who are you? I mean, what kind of credentials you have? So he goes out there with his big mustache and say, I am Frederick Van Sonshaw, whatever, a count. So he told everyone that he was a count, some kind of title guy, the guy from royalty, So George Washington said to him, okay, go ahead and take over. I want you to train, I want you to teach this Continental Army how to fight a modern war against the most advanced military at the time in the planet. And he said, not a problem, I can do that. So he devised all these systems of training by the numbers. He actually numbered scenarios and procedures, and that is how he did it. And that, to me, was a key factor in the fight against the English Empire. So you see everything coming together. You see the politicians, putting together a government. Today we call that government the United States of America. We see the politicians creating an identity, a United States of America identity. Then you see the French and the Spanish, King Charles III from Spain and Louis, providing or supplying the Continental Army with weapons, cannons, gunpowder in the millions of pounds, and providing maritime support. Basically, they control the oceans, the sea. And with Mr. Frederick bringing that army to a point of utilization of those same weapons. And that is the key. The key is Mr. Fred, the guy from Prussia, or maybe Bavaria, or maybe Países Bajos, or Low Countries, or Hungary, who knows? Everybody's telling you that they know where he's coming from, but nobody actually knows. This guy put it all together. And he became not only a founding father of this nation, but he became one of the first to be a United States of America citizen, or a national of the United States of America. And that is what people don't realize what is happening today. What is happening today is that very same empire that we fought are utilizing techniques to take it back. And that is how we're being attacked. And that is what I'm trying to transfer on this type of videos that I'm doing. Is the Mr. Friedrich Van Sonshaw. He sacrificed his life, he risked his life and the rest of the Continental Army to create something new, to create something the world have never seen, and they accomplished it. And now today is being hijacked. Today, people around the world, they actually defend the position of the we are Americans. They defend the position that we have a North America continent, and they support the position of that is a Central America continent, and they support the position that is a South American continent. They support the position that we are English. Literally, that we are English. That is how crazy these have gotten in the past 150 years. And it's actually since 1903 really took a hold of our nation. Just look around. I'm going to give you an example that you can actually go out there and check it today. Right now we have a race, a nautical race, a sailboat race. They call it the America's Cup. The America's Cup. Listen, guys, tune to the America's Cup on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube and see who is participating. Take a look at that crew on that boat, on the Oracle boat that is defending the America's Cup. They're all English. They say USA in their forehead, but all of them are English, pretty much. They all act like Englishmen. They all feed of one another. There is not a single United States of America native on that boat. And they say to us they are defending the America's Cup. What they have done is hijack us. The people of the United States of America. To them, we are nothing but colonials. And that is how they are winning. They are telling us who we need to be, not who we really are. No, who Mr. Fred was fighting for in the late 1700s, creating the United States of America. So for that reason, that man is my favorite. That man, the Fred Van something another, he is my favorite monument erected in Washington, D.C., in Washington District of Columbia. So defend the United States of America. Defend your heritage, your true heritage, not the one assigned to you by the English. You do not have a white heritage. You do not have a black heritage, or brown heritage, or yellow heritage, or right heritage, left heritage, up and down heritage. You do not have a political party heritage. Your heritage is a guy from someplace in Europe. They come here escaping tyranny and creating this beautiful country, the United States of America. So pass the word around. We are not Americans. The world is changing our identity. We must defend it. It's not for the world to defend it. It's for us, you and I, to defend it. Let me stop my rant. And we need to create another big monument. We need to create the 51st State of the Union, the State of Oceania, or whatever you want to call it. All people right now colonized by the United States of America, federal government, into one state. Apparently they listening to me on these videos that I'm making, and now they want to separate the state that I want to create. Now they want to start fighting for the District of Columbia only, the Democratic Party want to start a fight just to destroy what I'm talking about, to keep people apart, because they know if they make the District of Columbia stay, the fight will be on, because it will be very limited power, because the population is just a city, just very limited. But if you combine all the possessions of the United States of America throughout the world, guess what? We're talking about truly powerful, because not only will gain 2 senators, but they will gain many representatives, because the population of this geography combined, these nationals of the United States of America, is greater than Virginia, greater than North Carolina, greater than Idaho, Montana, greater than South Dakota, North Dakota, Utah. So we're talking about a very powerful entity. And the English, they are afraid of a creation of the true identity of the United States of America. An identity no Anglo-Saxon, but an identity created by guys like Fred from Germany, from Spain, from France, from Italy, from Africa, from the Middle East, from China, from Russia, from Australia, from everywhere. And they terrified of that. They are terrifying. The English are terrifying. And everybody else too. The Europeans in general. They are terrified that we create a true United States of America identity, an American identity, a continent, the continent of America identity. And if we can pull that off, we no longer need to worry about something like World War I, or something like World War II, or something like the 7-year war that created the United States of America. We will no longer have to be worried about wars like the War of the Spanish Succession. We can actually start creating and protecting the planet into a people or a species that can travel onto space and probably in time. And this sounds like very crazy, because remember, what I'm doing right now is exactly what Fred Van did. They're looking so far ahead, they sound like strange, because people do not understand. But we already travel in our solar system, and that is where we need to go. We need to create a species where we no longer look at each other down and try to compete for resources. We need to go to a point where these founding fathers of the United States of America decided to go. A free place where we as a species can advance, all of us, and not left anyone behind. So no one can feel like, for example, can feel that animal instinct. Like, for example, I have people, they tell me about facial hair. You know, I will not shave because it will change myself. It will change me. So we need to get to that point where facial hair is not responsible for who you are, where a tattoo does not define your identity, a earring do not define your identity. Humanity needs to get to a point where looks does not define an identity. We need to create that, and the Europeans are terrified of that. And that is where we are right now. We are fighting for the identity not only of the United States of America, the identity of the continent of America, and the identity of our species as it is. So go out there and take a look in Washington, D.C. to the monument of the fellow who trained and taught the Continental Army how to fight and how to win. And if you want to take that monument down, you can. I'm not going to stop you, but you taking yourself down. It is simple as that. Before you put a rope on any monument, ask yourself this question: why is this monument here? Why is here? And if you can answer that question correctly, this monument no need to be here. Like for example, the monument in Stone Mountain, Georgia. I can tell you why that monument should not be there. But I too can tell you why Mr. Fred Banshowski monument must be erected in our capital, in the capital of Colombia. God bless the United States of America. I beg you guys around the world not to feel inferior to anyone, not to feel inferior to us, not to feel inferior to anyone on this planet. We are second to none, you and I. So protect the United States of America. And God bless you all. Saludos.